Okay, I think we're connecting, and we are online with everybody here on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Spotify for the podcast. And welcome to everybody. We are punctual, 5:30 this evening on Wednesday. Uh, 11, what today? We are the 16th of November. Okay. All right. Just a very, very quick housekeeping. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. As you know, we need your subscription to enhance our content, to have more guests, to make it really more and more exciting every week. So please subscribe to YouTube for those who are on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube and you want to watch this program after it's recorded, you can find it on YouTube as well. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to welcome Marie-Monique Steckel tonight, who accepted to be our guest, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Marie-Monique, for being with us.
Welcome. You're welcome, as I say.
Okay, so Marie-Monique, I want to say a few words. I had the opportunity a few times in my career, in my life, to come across Marie-Monique at different stages, but especially since she was the head of the Alliance Française in New York. So I think I can define her as a significant influencer from for the French American French cultural, educational, and probably prior to that the business, and the prior to that again educational, but also different things that are very important between the two countries. And she's between the two continents all the time, and still very active. And I just wanted to ask her to compliment whatever I didn't say that should be known by those that are discovering Marie-Monique this evening. Is this something that I missed?
Well, I must say, I just stepped down from the French Institute Alliance Française in New York City. It is one in the network of the Alliance Française, the two Alliance Française in the world. But in New York, we're probably the biggest of revenues and in terms of cultural activities. And my have been extremely exciting. And if changes the world, as your session is supposed, but I certainly changed my own life, absolutely immersing myself culture between the US and France, and it was a very, very exciting. Bring it with the city and with New Yorkers was also a wonderful mission. So I've just stepped down and were a consultant, like many people, and it has taken to leave a wonderful job. I adored what I was doing. I was a small team, about 50 people, but we had about a community of 100,000, and a will to change. And I want to say I'm still in transition. So you're asking me maybe in the future, but I'm still sort of in the middle of it, and it's been challenging.
Right. Well, it's a challenging time, so it's exciting too. When we know that there is always a challenging time. I'm used to say that I don't know it's the world, but in the US especially, there is always a cycle. It goes from 3-5 years. It's going very, very, very high, and then you have a very big climb, and it comes back high. It's really a sinusoidal, Russian mountain kind of thing. We really always are on the move. So it's very dynamic and sometimes scary and sometimes exciting. So I'm sure that everybody who's watching has the same type of experience, and it's not always easy. So the context, as I explained to you, Marie-Monique, is that changing people's lives is happening every day, especially in our workplace, and especially when you're a leader. Leadership is, of course, what I coach every day. People want to develop their leadership skills, and you've been leading a lot of people. You've been influencing a lot of decisions, and part of different and being a stakeholder, and still are a stakeholder in decisions that are taken. So, what do you think you could describe as the trend today for people that have influence? What should they be focusing on, in your opinion?
Well, in my career, if you want, I've been said that I had the ability to hire a gear number of people into different directions. I must say the most rewarding is taking this very seriously. I always felt that having an intern part of our team was not having shuffle around, but you can absolutely change their life. Very interesting to me now that I've stepped down from FIAF is that the number of people I meet, whether it's in New York or in Paris, saying life. And how did I? And it's something that I've read a lot of time. And I know that some people don't feel that it's choosing really the lowest person on the totem pole in an organization. You're supposed to say gives them an interesting training, but many whether it was in the telecommunication world where I was, or for France Telecom, and now for 18 years at FIAF, I have tried to be to be of the power of choosing and changing people's in terms of work. I meet people in Paris now. You don't remember, and I don't remember. I really don't. But I don't. You don't interviewed you. You told me so, and you made the connection with certain people in California, and then I went to California, and then that is something that in my mind is the most building a team and finding that the most important influence that you can have. Also, I must tell you that being a woman, I find it very interesting to me to be very much of a man. And I was telling you about my selecting to leave this year, this wonderful job where they paid for my going to Paris and looking at, artistic endeavors and performances in Paris. So the idea of doing that, and my image be in the river, and I don't want to be on the river banks looking at the river pass by. So if you still want to be in the river, leave a job and find things is a tall order. And as I said, it took a lot of it. But I'm also 83. So people say, Marie-Monique, why don't you want to just stay home and, I don't know what, learn how to knit or what to do? But my view is that the river is more interesting to me. What's going on, trends, and how can I participate in changing those lives? So that's why at 83, I'm very much at this point, if you want, for people who are in their 40s and 50s and say, oh, I'd like to look like you, I'd like to be what you're doing.
I'm sure they think that. Yeah.
So, way of changing the life and changing the world is being active and showing that age is not the mind. It's really how much are you willing to be into things or not. And some people, and it's fine. You want to garden yours and say, this is my pleasure. Why not? I mean, I'm not against it. It's just that it's not my pleasure. My pleasure is ideas and people and finding out what's going on in the world. So to say that I want to not, it's not a volonté, it's not a will. It's just that by doing it, I am something that younger women do. They want to know why I'm doing this, how I'm thinking about, and energy up.
You know what? It keeps you healthy. It keeps you dynamic. It keeps you participating. And I think you always had also a contemporary view of things. I mean, you talk about the river, but I also think about real time. You know, you could bring your experience and everything that happened 20, 30 years ago to the table, wherever you are asked for your opinion or your consultant. So you're giving your opinion, you're giving insights. So there is wisdom, of course, that we bring with age, but there is also a way of looking at things. So today there is challenges that are pretty new to many, many people, whatever the age is. And this is the theme, of course, is uncertainty. People get laid off now in the high-tech industry, and you've been in high-tech also. The business usually is not long-term. People don't look very much long-term, at least in the US. I don't see people looking very long-term. So what is it that you could compare this time to a time before when you saw things happening and the way to handle, the way to navigate that? If you would have something to say, what would it be?
Well, I think that being afraid, I mean, fear is a real poison in your life. Fear is something that is pernicious and sort of stops you from going forward with your life. My view is that, and that was given mentors years ago, and he would say, Marie-Monique, what is it that you can control? It is that you can control, and don't fuss or worry about control. And there are a number of things that are happening around you. I try not to, how do you say, not to worry about it. I know that it's happening. War is really a horrible event for so many older people there and the refugee camps and all that. But I don't think I can do anything about it. So that particular uncertainty is cannot control. Therefore, I try to do what I can do, and I'm getting involved with a library. It's a library without borders, which have just signed a contract with the UN, and we're doing sending libraries to refugee camps for women who have suffered violence, women and young men who have suffered violence. So I try to get involved into something that I can around, that I can not, I mean, control, I'm not sure of the word, but at least do. And I try not to worry about the rest of the world, because I can't, if that's
I get it.
Sort of a healthy way of not worries is I don't worry much about money. I don't worry about it happens.
Right. So you're saying that it's an attitude, it's a behavior. And
it's an attitude.
you do not get distracted. It's a distraction in a way. right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I say that about the news a lot. I try to separate myself from the news, first of all, in
Absolutely.
all, all part of things. So good, but it's not for lack of interest. It's for for keeping myself right balanced to get really a balance of life. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's good. If we talk about that project you just mentioned, that's definitely something that changes people's lives, even in a context of uh, of a rescue or people that have been abused or things like that. Why a library? As you said it, I'm just curious about why a library.
Oh, it's a very brilliant man called Patrick. Really created the Libraries Without Borders, and
Orders.
it it are libraries in a sense. These are cubes, books, and which are sent very easily to camps in general,
Right.
homeless camps. So we had a library like that, 4 or 5 cubes of books. People who don't have access to books, camps, but also places where people are not don't have cultural books. So
Okay.
that's why it's called Without Borders, and it's been a very successful. They are now in I don't know 40 countries. They have books running around the world. So
Okay.
interesting.
Right. Right. Okay.
So,
Good. Good.
but to do something about violence and sexual violence used in conflicts, and the people who are suffering from it afterwards, and sending again book trained with the books. We were trained people to be full and help these women or young men or men from the assaults. So
Okay.
so it's interesting. I mean, uh, everything that you read in the paper, some of it is you can't you have to make it so human size can do something. So
Yes.
that's a good one.
Okay.
So that's
Anything?
what I'm involved,
Yeah.
but I'm also involved with another project in Paris to is for beautiful cinema, which has been closed for many years. For about It's called La Pagode, and an American investor bought it, and we're trying to store it as a cinema and be the uh, be really in Paris. And I'm working on that with him.
Oh wow, wow,
It's very
wow. So I walk by the pagode regularly because my mother lives about 2 blocks from there, 1 block from there, and I saw the constructions. It's a real incredible undertaking. Uh, Wonderful. It was always a very interesting place anyway. A real pagode in the middle of Paris,
that's
in the
right.
right.
It was created at the end of the 19th century.
Yes,
The
yes.
store Le Bon Marché, and he built it as a fiestas of fete for his love and the starvation that he had for her, and somehow he wanted to give her an amazing gift, pagoda, and it looks like a pagoda, and it is true. I mean, it's sort of east west, if you want, but uh, some of it visited by a French architect, and so
Right.
it's really a mix. But it's beautiful, and I'm working. I was a month there in Paris to work on that and see how people expect, and what kind of programming we should have, who should really sort of. And I'm not going to be working operation of it, but I'm a consultant. So it's very interesting.
Yes, it really is. I'm fascinated by this just because of the beauty of that building anyway.
So
But it's
you
really nice.
mentioned
Yes.
changing the people's life and or people, the world.
Yes.
Luck. You have to have luck in choosing, or you don't choose, but you end up in a corner of the world where you can do mind-blowing and interesting.
Definitely.
Luck.
And I keep saying is that people do not realize how much of impact they can have on others, right? Um, and just a conversation, just the space you can give to someone with undivided attention, as a leader, as a manager, as a peer with your team, in an organization, in a work environment, in the workplace, especially after COVID when we were so virtual. But even like that, if you also are virtual, you can have an impact. You can change someone's life, and you can only just by being there for that person, and just by listening actively to that person. I just know it's elementary what I'm saying, but I see the difference it makes when we start be conscious about it, that we have this possibility, we have the potential, and that we never know when it happens and how it happens, but just your presence, your communication and your dedication to be in fact a giver. Sometimes it's a good thing to be. I even said today something about communication. Communicating is a gift, because you communicating something to someone. And we were talking about introverts, extroverts. Introverts have a tendency of not communicating, of not speaking out. But I want to tell you, I saw a change in someone today just by saying to that person, about communicating and speaking out. It's the opportunity you have to give something, to give, just to be a giver, because you know something and you are about you don't you refrain from talking because you're shy or you're an introvert is not an excuse. If you have something relevant to say it, speak it out,
Right.
right?
Right.
It was one thing
Absolutely.
today that happened. I like to share this little of an experience like that. But anyway, Marie-Monique, again, thank you for coming today. Is there anything that you could share with us, a story, a little story of a very aha moment in your life when you really could see your impact, and someone telling you, thanking you for changing her or his life? Can you remember of something?
Oh my God.
In,
Apparently this is something so that uh, by see, having a culture and being able each year to bring 5 people, that it was like a for them. And I can think of a young man that is now 7 years ago that I chose to be my assistant, and his mother always, who I met afterwards, said to me, "How did you know why you could choose him and have such trust in him that you he worked with me for about 7 years, 6 years, and now he was a French chamber in the last election, and he's 32, he was about 24, and
right,
I gave him a stepping stone for learning how to communicate, which is very important for it. And it was for him an absolutely life-changing experience. And I think that we are, yeah, we're close and very very aware that it win for him, win for me. You change somebody's life, yes, but they
yeah,
change your life. They do,
also.
and it's a win-win. It's a win-win for everybody. Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that one. That's really very characteristic. It's very nice. Monique, I want to thank you again for coming today. I don't
Not
know
at
about the
all.
secret. It's so
You're most
strange. It's
welcome.
but we still depend on technology. So I hope the streaming was good, and if everybody can give some feedback, please do. You also have the chat. I should have said that in the beginning, but you can always send a message here on the chat, and on the website also, andrepolitzer.com. And again, please subscribe to YouTube. Come back next week. We'll have another guest. But thank you again, Marie-Monique, very, very much for being available for us and for your
An
time.
experience. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye,
Everybody,
André.
goodbye.
À bientôt.
Bye.
See.
À bientôt. Bye.